Hello, friends. So good to be with you today. A few years ago, I was invited to a dinner party, and a really strange event took place that kind of shaped my perspective on a lot of things. I sat down at the dinner table, and it was going to be a beautiful meal. Great host that was there, and she pulled up a chair and set it just to my left, and it was left intentionally empty. At first I thought, well, is somebody else going to come and join us that I wasn't aware of? But I realized that was a mistake. And when I asked her about it, she just smiled and she said, "This is for the one who's not here, but should be." When she said that, I knew who she was talking about. I knew who she was talking about. I could kind of sense the pain in her voice and the emptiness in her eyes, and I realized there was someone that she loved that wasn't coming. But what was so interesting, she was making room for them anyway. And to this day, that moment reminds me that sometimes we get separated and we let our pride or maybe our silence become a barrier, and it just leaves a vacant spot in our hearts. Listen to me. Don't let pride or silence separate you from someone that you love. That someone wasn't at the table, but she wanted them to be. That was fine, but they were never far from her thoughts. Even though they weren't at the tables, they were never very far from her thoughts. And I just kind of sat there mulling it over, and what must have happened? What caused this rift in their relationship? And that moment stayed with me. But here's the point. We have allowed ourselves to lose important relationships for senseless reasons, silly reasons, stupid reasons. We've allowed ourselves to lose important relationships. See, relationships are fragile. You have to realize that, but it isn't because your love isn't strong. It's the little things that affect the relationship that actually break the relationship. Words not spoken, or maybe words that were spoken, forgiveness withheld, assumptions made, time taken for granted and not appreciated. I mean, we all have someone in our life, in our past, who slipped away, and they belong at our table. I mean, you're just, I remember that's a relationship that was so important to me, and they belong at our table. Friends, family, someone we miss, someone we need to call, someone we need to forgive, or just simply say, "I see you." Because here's the reason: life is too short, brother, to keep empty chairs when reconciliation is still possible. Don't wait until that seat is permanently vacant. I'm telling you, life slips away from us so quick. You need to love while you can, embrace while you can. Please forgive while you can. Take my word for it. Regret is a horrible thing to live with. It is. So my question to you today is this: do you have any empty chairs in your life? Now, I'm speaking of relationships that for one reason or another have been separated from you. Maybe there's someone who should be a part of your life, and for whatever reason, there's a distance between you. This is your day for reconciliation. It's your day. Set a chair for them at your table. Don't let another day pass and with an empty chair and an untold story. Come on, make room for them in your heart, and then go make that connection with them. Be the first to reach. Be the first to forgive. Sometimes healing begins there. You may not get to the full thing done, but it begins there. It begins with just a simple thought, a simple act. I'm making room for you in my heart. I'm making room for you at my table. Somebody's got to make the first initial step. Move that chair. You always have a place at my table. You need to tell them that. You always have a place. So maybe today, make the call. Set another place. Pull up a chair and make room for grace. Because love doesn't just remember, listen to me, love reaches. Love compels you. Make room first in your heart, then at your table, and it'll always be genuine. This is the time for reconciliation. Pass it on.